All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me just make sure my settings are working. All right. Perfect. Okay. Apologize. I wanted to go live yesterday, but I had a monitor go out on me, so I had to get a new one and set it up. But it looks like everything's running smooth, so if you can, smash that like button, thumbs up. Of course, going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers' case. We're going to be breaking down kind of the totality of everything, in my opinion, that is evidence based that we have, that we can see, feel, and touch more or less, and how it all kind of culminates to one specific area. And then, if we get time, also there was, this alleged audio recording that supposedly took place and was believed to be from the one of the cameras, and you could hear allegedly CP and somebody talking. And so, if we get time, I will kind of try to tap into that and just give my thoughts on it, because it's kind of, I remember it. Early days when this case was out, I remember when that audio was kind of circulating, and I'd heard it like once, and then I hadn't really had a chance to actually like evaluate it. For those that are kind of familiar with my channel, I love breaking down audio clips. I'm not like an expert in that, but I have, I would say that I have the experience with working with audio and obviously video. So anyway, let's get going, guys. Before we get started with Sebastian, and again, thank you to everybody, this love and support. I'm watching the chat. Again, if I could, I would shout everybody out, but we have over 500 people in here, and we'd be here all night. But again, it means the world to me, every person in here, truly. All right. I had a mod try to send me a missing person, but I couldn't tell if they found him or not. Anyway, long story. So I apologize, Jocelyn, if you're watching. I know you sent somebody, but I can't tell if he's been found or not. It was really weird. So anyway, I'm going to feature this guy again. This is Harley Morris. He went missing last year. We're almost at the anniversary, January 21st, 2024. He went missing out of Tyler, Texas. He is 6'3" and 160 pounds, so he is a tall guy. I'm 6'3" myself, so he would stand out. He has blonde and brown hair. He was last seen wearing a black jacket, gray sleeves, black pants, and a black baseball style hat. He is just 29 years old. It says he was recorded on a camera walking along, and I think I had somebody in chat because I featured him in my last live. I think they had some notes they know about this guy, but it says he was seen walking along somewhere near his residence, I believe. And it was around 3 a.m. and after that, he has not been seen or heard from since, unfortunately. And to make matters worse, he didn't have a phone on him, which is terrible, because then, they could at least kind of maybe triangulate or, get a ping off his phone, at least, until it. But without having a phone, that's really tough. So, anyway, if anybody by chance lives in that area, can keep an eye out for Harley. If you do have any information, you call 903-531-1000. And one more time, that is Harley Morris. Make sure that's coming up right. Perfect. Okay, let's get going, guys. All right. As always, I'll just play just a quick one. It's about a little less than 2-minute recap on Sebastian Rogers' story. Again, I'm sure 99% of you guys are familiar with the case, but just, I know I get new subscribers, and I do notice that there are a few that are just getting into this case. So I'm going to play this real quick, just make sure everything's running smooth, and then we're going to just get right into it. So let me play that.
1008 traffic court, Commissioner. Caller advised this morning they was having a 15-year-old male walking to bed. We are right now 3 blonde hair walking to bed, but we're going to turn down. I'm going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Female does have a kind of autism. It's the first time it happened. I'm going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this time.
Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic teenager who lives in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was last seen Sunday night on February 25th by his mother, Katie Proudfoot. The next morning, on the 26th, his mother went to wake Rogers up and get him ready for school, but Rogers was nowhere to be seen. Sebastian Rogers was allegedly wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, his glasses, and his keychain flashlight. Okay. Yeah, that's yep, you're right. Okay. Oops.
If you're looking at my house,
Okay.
it's going to be the right-hand side.
Hold on, Stinkfoot.
The dog goes all the way down the
All right. 1 second, guys. Let me get this all set up here. So I know the dog scent has been a big thing recently, because a certain alleged PI has been putting out a kind of a narrative. Again, we get narratives, when certain people post, and it's like, oh, hey, don't look over here, but look over here. And anyway, so now the dogs are being brought up again, and there's people sharing their opinions on both sides. And so I just kind of wanted to go over, because in my opinion, I do think the dogs did get at least a hit, but I'm going to kind of show the evidence that we know, and then kind of provide the theory and the totality of everything, because there are certain words that Chris uses, and like I said, it all kind of will line up. Again, some of the stuff I've presented before, but I'm trying to put it in a way where, again, I built this all up again from scratch, to kind of show you guys all the little clues that if we just kind of put them together, there is an area where I believe, whatever happened, this is kind of like the catalyst. This is where things started, in my opinion, using the evidence that we have. So let's start with it here. Let me back it up. Okay, so it's right here. Chris Proudfoot had a conversation with narc divers. This happened early on, maybe on the third or fourth, somewhere about in the first 3 or 4 months, I believe. And anyway, of course, narc divers had worked with, I think they helped in the Riley Strain case. And since they were in Tennessee, they were going to, heard about Rogers. And anyway, so they had a phone call with Chris. I'm sure a lot of you that have followed this case have heard it, but there's just a couple of things that he said that I want to kind of, point out, highlight, in a sense.
If you're looking at my house,
Okay.
it's going to be the right-hand side. The dog goes all the way down the fence. The dog comes all the way back up into the yard, and then it cuts diagonally to the house next door to us through their backyard. And that is the direction which the dog can take off. Now,
so again, the main word is diagonally. And I'm going to kind of zoom in as well to kind of fully understand exactly where he's talking about, because I really have studied this, trying to make sure that, he wasn't trying to say a different direction, like basically what I'm trying to say is I made sure that what I'm interpreting, where these dogs went from starting at the home, is this direction. And even listening to Chris Proudfoot's words, you can see which houses he's talking about and the direction the dogs are going.
after that's where they get over to the main road, go up Kellens, and head over to the other subdivision.
Okay.
I mean,
How many? Yeah, a lot of dogs.
but day one, there was 5 dogs. There was a Belgian Malinois, a blue heeler, 2 bloodhounds, and a blue tabby. In the 8 days of the aquarium intensity.
Now, keep in mind, so it's kind of confusing because he mentions like groups of dogs. He'll say 5, and then there was like 8, or no, he says 8 days or something like that. And then sometimes he says 3 dogs, but I think it's either 3, but I think it's 5 dogs, according to Chris. Again, you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, but he says, I'll say at the very least 3 dogs went, took that diagonal path, and then either went between the 2 homes, or you could say then just went kind of onto Stafford and went up killing. That's the only thing, I can't really tell. But either way, it's the diagonal direction that is very important. And then he says at least 3, maybe 5 dogs end up cutting up to killing.
In the 8 days. On day 1, the 5 dogs did that. Out of the 8 days,
so he says 5.
3 different dogs from 3 different groups went to that same area in that same set. On day 1, 2 of those dogs did the same path.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that...
So, yeah, I think from what I understand how he's saying, he said like 3 dogs one day and then 2 dogs another day or another session. So from what let me know if you interpret that a different way. So according to Chris, he said 5 dogs allegedly took this path. But remember, there was more dogs, and they took other paths as well.
The bloodhound and the blue team. From what I was told, that's why I was like, well, there we go, folks. That's why out of all the dogs, there was at least 3 consistent hits that do that.
Right.
Now notice the word, the sentence he used. Well, there you go, folks. As if he's like, well, there's the answer for you guys. That's the direction he went. Just a strange phrase to say, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in chat. But to me, that's like, I've worked with some families, not a lot, but in my experience, that's just, these narratives are not something, again, they theorize, but to me, it's like, there you go, folks, as in, here you go, guys. This is, look over here.
Right. What are the strongest path? Yeah, the strongest, most recent scent.
And there was a couple dogs.
So I know it's a little bit harder to hear. I had to snag this from a different channel. So it's got a lot of that background noise, and I just didn't have a chance to clean it up. But I'll relay what he says here.
One dog went over to Long Hollow Pike.
So he said 1 dog went to Long Hollow Pike. For anybody that doesn't know where Long Hollow Pike, you have Kellen Lane, and if you just go south, it's just kind of out of the picture here. As a matter of fact, I'll probably just, while we're here, let me just have this up so that way I can switch back and forth here. So that's Long Hollow Pike. So he basically says that instead of, what the other dogs did, they went down and then they went up to Kellen. But in this one, this dog went down and then went down Kellen, down south instead of up north, and went to Long Hollow Pike. So really here we have that split somewhere.
Got there and he lost the scent.
And then he lost the scent.
And they go in all different directions. They lose.
And then I apologize. I wish I could have grabbed this from something else. And then he says there was other dogs that just kind of went in all different directions. Now maybe that's at the point where it's like it's more days. It's days later, and the scent is starting. If Sebastian's scent is there somewhere, it's starting to fade. But I find it interesting that you have, kind of a divide right here. Of course, you have 5 dogs, but at least 1, maybe more. Again, he could have left out other details. We don't know. And other dogs could have went down as well. So we have, right here a split where certain dogs went up, and then other possible dogs, at the very least, one went south. And we know that if a dog just abruptly loses the scent, it means there's a good possibility, or at the very least a possibility, that at that point this person, whatever they're tracking, could have gotten into a car.
Dogs all picked up scents, and they go in all different directions they live.
That the dog popped to a trail, and they followed it and went all the way around, and it ended in a construction site, but it ended. That it's like there was nothing there. Leads me to believe that, well, if it ends, normally the scent ends when you stop traveling on foot. From my understanding, that would mean that he got into a car.
And that was Seth Rogers mentioning, well, this is just what I mentioned earlier. If the dog all of a sudden loses the scent, it's a possibility they got in a car. Lissa says they went to the construction area from the porch, but again, those dogs were not tracking Sebastian's scent. Again, so that's where it's kind of, yeah, and you're right. Apparently they are. They're narcotics and ground disruption. But there was other dogs that were brought in that, I don't know if we have all the information on every single dog that was used. I know there is quite a bit. I know I forgot all the names that we do know. I know there's Max. But the main point I'm trying to get to is that the diagonal part.
Right. And then where to the strongest path? Yeah, the strongest.
Because did they pick up something here that all the dogs, again, take this diagonal path?
The strongest, most recent scent.
And there was a couple dogs, like one dog went over to Long Hole Pike and got there and he lost his scent. The rest of
So, of course, we know we have the light video, and I'm going to deep dive that here in a little bit. And like I said, we're going to add everything in. But so if we just kind of look
and
at...
then it cuts diagonally to the house next door to us through their backyard.
So again, when he was talking to narc divers, tells them when you're facing the house to your right, the dog came off the porch, went back this direction, and then for some reason came back, and then went diagonally. And of course then he would go up killing. So there's only two diagonally ways he could go from there. So he could either go diagonally this way, but obviously that wouldn't make sense because you can't really go diagonally because you got this whole fenced off area. And he says the house next to him. And so here we have the house next to him. And coincidentally, if you look at it, it's not squared up like Roger's home. It's set up differently, and it's kind of got this diagonal path, interestingly enough. So this is kind of the area, even if it's not, again, I know it's kind of been a big debate on the dogs. But the main point is that he said they go diagonally. So even if maybe they didn't have a scent, did they, notice something that they were picking up that caused them to go diagonally? Again, I think that's a very strong word to use. And again, it lines up with other activities that happen in this case.
And that is the direction which the dogs take off. Now after that, that's where they get over to the main road, go up Kellen, and head over to the other subdivision.
Okay.
Oh, we just started, Aaliyah. You're,
So what I was
that's a good
told,
question.
That's why I was like, well, there we go, folks. That's why out of all the dogs, there was at least 3 consistent hits. I was told that's why I was like, well, there we go, folks. That's why.
So again, such an odd statement to make. There you go, folks. There's your answer. Don't look at us. Don't, look over here. So this is kind of 2 points I'm trying to make. We have, clearly some connections with this diagonal dog and the lights, which we're going to kind of add on. And then there's even more and just kind of add on. And then as we go along in this live, then I'm also going to point out how they keep trying to point us over here, over there. Don't look here, but, hey, check out this area. And so, again, we'll go along and start adding up all these connections, in my opinion.
Chris Stinkfeet told another creator, which they spoke for over an hour. Stinkfeet told this YouTuber that the mysterious lights came from the road above to the west. Told the creator this was a garbage truck.
Related to the...
So, I've mentioned this before. This actual screenshot, besides Chris in the picture, is actually from his video. But obviously, I'm not going to play this video, but I'm playing the audio because I just want you to listen. This is something that I've mentioned, but I'm actually going to play the reference because I just want you guys to get the full picture of how here we go with another narrative about something, the community has concerns about.
Flashlights that people said they saw, and I found the exact location, and I was given it the location by Chris Proudfoot, and it absolutely is the correct location that surveillance camera was. Now, there's the location by Chris Proudfoot, and it absolutely is the location by Chris Proudfoot, and it absolutely is.
So there you go. And I wish I had a little more time, but he even says that he spoke to Stinkfoot for about an hour. So again, you have, and we know, if you've seen my previous lives, we know that he has been shown this video, right? I've played clips before where he says, these 4 different agencies, all the big agencies, FBI, TBI, local, states, law enforcement, have studied this video so many times over and brought them in. And then we have Nick Barris, who obviously spoke with, when he got the footage, he spoke with the owners, and they know where it's pointed. So Chris Stinkfoot knows where this camera is pointed. But yet, here he is telling a content creator a narrative, and it's false. Why?
Showed 2 flashlights the night he disappeared. Is there anything that you think about this video, or?
Sure. So there's a lot of speculations about it. Some federal law enforcement, and they have analyzed that video so many times over that everything that everybody is trying to assume is a flashlight, I hate to say this, it's not. As much as we would love it to be one, it's not.
And again, I've mentioned this time and time again, but when working with families, that is not the answer, especially knowing that we know that they know. And for him to put out that statement, instead of just, let's say, again, because you still have to put all the possibilities on the table. But, again, if this was something, let's say, an outside abduction, and they knew this was kind of sensitive information, they just would say, no comment, right? Because, it's open investigation. They know that's kind of like their big lead. But instead of saying that, they, claim.
I'm not going to go into details as far as where that video is shot from, but I can tell you, as the parents, we have seen the video first.
So, again, like I said, you had him speaking with a content creator for an hour and telling him that the lights were coming up from the road above, which is so ridiculous because the camera
See that
cannot
the two
even...
lights at the top.
Because if you look at the top of the camera, you can't even see the border. Again, I've mentioned, if anybody doesn't know, this is a recording somebody took, their phone, because the actual owners of this camera, the people that own this home, they didn't know how to extract it from their servers. So all they could do is actually just play it on a monitor and then record it on their phone. So it's lost some quality when you do that. But we can clearly see the border of where this camera can, how much it can see at the top, because clearly the camera is angled down. And again, he tells this content creator that their garbage truck lights way back up on this top,
which have been assumed to be
ridiculous
floodlights.
So I'm going to play this explaining where the lights are. It's very short. I know I've explained it a million times, but just so I can get to chat for a minute, I'm going to play this. And then, like I said, we're going to keep adding on to this area.
And using this line, we can determine that those lights cannot be any higher than the hood of that truck. Using this method, we can determine exactly where those lights are coming from.
Gilherd gifting
So
a Mob Troop membership. God bless you. Thank you so much, Gilherd, for all your support and hard work. Kaylin Renee, thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting this channel. We have Angel. Again, thank you so much for the support. Hope in the Shadows. Gypsy Nielsen, thank you so much for renewing the membership. And Gail says, in my opinion, may have something to do with behavioral school. Yeah. And for some reason, Wallflower, that's weird, did show up. Wallflower gifting, or I'm sorry, not gifting, coming in with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Do line up with the image. But because the footage itself was filmed with a phone, it is a bit shaky and doesn't always line up. But this does give you an example of where everything is taking place. The lights labeled as subject 1 and 2 are moving across.
And mods, let me know if I need to slow down chat or if you guys got it under control. I think Sensei's got it working.
2 yards. So the big question is, are they flashlights or something else? And where are they coming from exactly, and where are they going to?
Okay. I know where I'm going.
That allegedly works with the stink feet.
So then we had, of course, a couple months ago, we had this team come in and try to recreate the video, right? And try to explain the lights. And of course,
a team.
When you're possibly hired by the stink feet, it doesn't surprise me that they end up putting out false information. They do a terrible job at recreating. I mean, it's not hard to look at a camera and look at the angle and then just reproduce that same angle. But, of course, they didn't. And so, of course, I put out a couple debunk videos. I could probably put out 5 more.
Works with the stink feet. Went to recreate the mysterious lights and come up with a narrative.
So, again, instead of taking a camera and using the same angle, which, this surveillance camera is angled down, instead of that, they just get a stick and they're pointing straight ahead. So now we're going to see more stuff that we wouldn't see in the surveillance footage because the camera's not angled down a bit, it's straight. So now we're going to pick up more stuff up here that wouldn't be captured in the normal camera. And then they decide, we figured out where the lights are coming from.
They did not recreate this.
Now, again, I know I put out a bunch of debunk videos. I'm just going to put some of the highlights here. Again, I have a a narrative and the totality of everything we'll put together here.
Same angle as the original camera, which causes many issues. They tried to claim the lights were coming from above the street, and that the moving lights were from a garbage truck. Coincidentally, this is the same narrative that Stinkfeet told another YouTuber.
So is it a coincidence that a team that allegedly is hired by the Stinkfeet, now once again we get a narrative that basically says, well, hey, don't look over
From what
here.
I was told,
look over here. It's just some landscape lights, which those have like 350 to 500 lumen, where floodlights have 1600 to 4000 lumen. A huge, huge difference.
That's why I was like, well, there we go, folks. That's why out of all the dogs, there was at least 3 consistent hits. I was told. That's why I was like, well, there we go, folks. That's why.
So once again here, oops, I meant to leave that up a little bit longer. So, we have them pointing us over here at the retention pond, which I think of anything that has been searched a million times over, not really, but you know what I mean, would be that retention pond. And not only that, this is a place that is being built. You would have people coming every day. This is an active, site where they're building a community. You would think if by chance he's hiding somewhere around in that area, they would have noticed him. Because, again, I'm not an expert in this kind of area, but I've worked with companies. I did flooring for a couple of years. So we go into new developments and start doing flooring and stuff. And so you would have a bunch of different subcontractors coming in left and right in this, it's not a big neighborhood. And so I would think if there was anything, that was related to Sebastian, they would have found it. I mean, there's always the chance that something could have been overlooked. It happens in so many missing person cases. We've heard it time and time again. We've heard searches that go on, they don't find anything, and then a year later or whatever, an independent team comes in or whatever, and they go over where the original people had went, and they find that person. It does happen. So you do definitely have to kind of keep an open mind that there's always, possibilities. But the main thing is it's like, why are we forcing this narrative, And then again, with Gray Hughes, Stinkfoot tries to tell him, oh yeah, it's just garbage truck way up on this honeysuckle road, And then we have this other team again saying that it's lights coming from this home over here. So don't look over here where this is where the activity's at. But, hey, remember that retention pond that's been probably searched 1,000 times? Or these garbage truck lights that somehow defy just every basic law of physics.
I was told. That's why I was like, well, there we go, folks. That's why.
The video you're about to see is from early Monday morning, February 26th, around 3:10 a.m. Now, there are no street lights in the Stafford Court neighborhood, so it is at night pitch black. What you will see here are these 2 points of light believed to be people with flashlights in the area around Sebastian Rogers' Hendersonville home.
Again, I know I've played some of these clips, but I promise you I'm add new things. I always kind of take some of the stuff I had, but I've rebuilt this because I promise you I'm going to put the whole totality of everything together here. Hope and Shadows gifting 5 mob crew memberships. God bless you. If you do by chance get gifted a membership, if you could thank the person that did gift you a membership, that it mean the world to me. God bless you guys. I will get to more of that here in a minute.
It is believed Sebastian left his home barefoot and with a flashlight. Sometime overnight, he disappeared. You see, 2 light sources, which we've circled to help you follow. For point of reference, the security camera was pointed toward the back of Sebastian's home in a common area. Pointed toward...
Oh, wait. Say that again for me, Nick Barris.
The back of Sebastian's home.
Oh, that's right. In the back of Sebastian's home. Thank you.
In a common area.
So, we look at how the lights had traveled, right? On the left here, I've literally got his, this is coming from Nick Barris's, I don't know, maybe this is a Google Earth, because, you know, Google Earth and Google Maps, sometimes they have different satellite imagery, you know. But anyway, it's the same thing. And then here on the right, I've got where the dogs have tracked. And again, we're going to kind of put those together. And then we're going to add even more stuff on. Like I said, there's a lot to this. We're going to put the totality of everything. So here we go. On the left, the lights are traveling, in my opinion, at a diagonal line compared to the surveillance footage. And coincidentally, with the dogs at the beginning, they take this diagonal trajectory, which in my opinion is no coincidence. I know I've kind of mentioned this before, but like I said, we're going to kind of bring this all together here. Yeah, some people, yeah, it's the common area. That's damn right, it's a common area. But in my opinion, it's much more.
And then it cuts diagonally to the house next door to us through their backyard. And that is the direction which the dogs take off. Now after that, and then it cuts diagonally to the house next door to us through their backyard. And that is the direction which the dogs take off. Now after that,
so there you go. Two different things going on, and you can kind of take, you know, 2 of those things and see that there are some patterns, some similarities, and really, just like I said before, it's the whole diagonal trajectory, in my opinion. I don't think that's a coincidence. Again, I know the whole dog scent thing has been kind of debated back and forth. Again, it would be nice to know, like, what is the truth, you know, when it comes to those dogs. So, this is the lights in order. I'm not going to deep dive 100, full deep dive on it, but I am just going to kind of explain a couple things to kind of give you a full picture for anybody that may be newer to this case and kind of wants to know what's going on. But I promise you some interesting stuff. All right. So we know Nick Barris put out a video first. He put out a minute, 30 some odd second clip, which shows subject 1 and subject 2. Subject 1 kind of goes out of frame, and then we have subject 2, which kind of comes in and out. But they both take that same trajectory. And what kind of trajectory are they taking? Well, it almost kind of looks, in a way, diagonal. Now, this is video 1 in order. And I know I kind of released this, I think, last week, where I actually, for the first time, had learned something new about these videos. And that this video here that was uploaded is actually, with all the videos that we have, which I think there's 4 or 5, this video is the first one in chronological order, which in my opinion shows subject 1, And that's why subject 1 is on the right compared to subject 2 being on the left, because the first light seen is subject 1. So we have one light that kind of travels across, and then moments later we have subject 2 moving across. Now, to me, that's kind of interesting because, if they're coming from the same source, let's just say for theory that they're coming from Stinkfoot's home, right? 2 people with flashlights, headlights, whatever. Why wouldn't they just travel together? Unless you wanted to have one as a spotter. I've called it a scout, spotter, either way, but in my opinion, you have a kind of a scout, a spotter, that's going to go first. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, but they're going to kind of check, and they're somewhere, I believe they're between these 2 homes, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but they are in this general vicinity. Then we have subject 2, who then makes that same trajectory, while subject 1 is kind of just hanging out, in my opinion, close to this house here. Now, we move on to... Okay, here we go. So in order, we had video 1 with subject 1. Then we have video 2, which I kind of overlaid with video 1 just to kind of show you where Nick Barris had kind of cut some of this stuff off. So we don't see this. And this light, do not mistake this light as one of the subject. It is actually part of the floodlights on the other home, because it never moves and it has the same properties as this floodlight over here. But in general, we can see how one comes across first, which now that we know why it's labeled subject 1, because it's the first light that's been seen, and then subject 2 follows it shortly after. Now, where things get really interesting is video 3.
And that is the
Oh, I hit the wrong thing there.
and then it cuts diagonally to the house next door to us through their backyard. And that is the direction which the dogs take off. Now, after that, that's where they get over to the main road, go up Kellen, and head over to the other subdivision.
Okay.
So you notice I have some more diagrams. I have this yellow thing here and pointing to the left going down, because we know that there was a car that did travel up Kellen and came back down. It came down here and then turned onto Stafford just a little bit and then parked, which is really odd because, let's say if this car was for this house, well, why didn't they just park in front of this home and park in the driveway? It was parked on the right side, so clearly it definitely wasn't for the house at the surveillance. So the only 2 homes that this car, if there was an instant explanation, why are they sitting here? It makes no sense. But of course, there will be a narrative put out for that we'll get into. And we'll kind of start to see this pattern where they keep putting out these narratives, and it's like they're trying to distract us of looking over here, looking over there, but don't worry about these lights, right? So video 3, video 3 and 4 are really interesting, of course. One second, I wanted to read her comment. I apologize. I'll pause it here and I'll read some comments. Was there camera footage of the Bower Sox neighborhood during that time frame? That's a good question. That is a very good question. I don't know if anybody in chat knows, but that would be interesting. So, one thing to point out right away with video 3. So, like I said, we're in chronological order. We had subject 1 kind of come across. Then subject 2 followed that same trajectory. Then we have one light. I'm not sure if it's subject 1 or 2. Either way, we have a light sitting there. Now, this is very important because what happens next? It's slowed down, so I apologize, but because it happens so fast. Notice that light is not moving, but that is no like house light. That is a light from one of the subjects. And what do you know? We have a car that turns on their lights. And we see what I consider the scout, the spotter, sitting there. And the fact that the light is not really moving. Now, it's possible that they could have paused the video and then just kind of zoomed in. It's tough to say. I'm not really sure. So do take that into account. But the fact that you have somebody sitting there watching that car, I mean, that is, to me, that's a very big clue. Yeah, AMC. We did go over. If you missed my live Monday, I did actually break down all of the stuff that she said, and I tried to put it in chronological order. As a matter of fact, I have some of it for this live because there's a few things I want to point out. But yeah, there was definitely some conflicting statements for sure. So here we are. So just for anybody that's not familiar with the neighborhood, because I kind of forget, there's always kind of new people that are maybe not as familiar with the Sebastian Rogers case. So looking at the top-down view, this is the Rogers home. This yellow highlight is where the dogs and the lights both make this, in my opinion, diagonal trajectory, which in my opinion, you know, you could say it's a coincidence, but then we'll start adding on to the totality of everything. But this light, we can see this light, so it's not behind any home. The position of it is closer to this home here, which means I think it's looking towards Kellen, and it's keeping an eye on Stafford, where the car is at. Again, as you can see where the car is at, it clearly has nothing to do with this home, has nothing to do with this home. So why are they parked there? It makes no sense, especially turning your lights off. That's like the huge big red flag. I get it if there's somebody coming up to the neighborhood, maybe lost, so they just kind of turn down the street just to maybe check Google Maps to get, set up. But why would you turn off your lights and possibly your vehicle? Makes no sense. That's right, Jazz. That's right. So here's another look just for anybody again. Proudfoot's home's here. This is the neighbor's home. And this is the lights where they kind of went diagonally. There's a kind of a ditch. That's why the lights, when you're watching it, when they're coming, they kind of fade in and out. And at some points, you don't see it for a good minute. It's probably because they're down here in the ditch and the light source is being blocked. But we clearly see this light sitting there while this car turns on its vehicle. Now we move to, so again, there's that light just kind of sitting there staring. And then, of course, we believe this to be a car. We can only see the lights from the headlights and the kind of tail lights. It's tough to say if there's something else going on because you kind of have some lights kind of coming in and out, and that is really just because, unfortunately, we've got, a second or third generation video. So we could have lights kind of coming in and out that may not fully represent what is there. But then we have video 3. Now this one, the quality is not that great. All we see is, now according to Nick Barris, he says shortly after the lights come, he doesn't mention the car, but then he says shortly after that, then we see one light, but there's actually two. We see one light literally skirt back towards the Stink Feet home. Now notice the difference between when they're coming and when they're going. We hardly see any light when this light travels back, which also supports the theory that they're kind of going diagonally away from the camera, where their body would be kind of blocking that source of light, whereas if they were coming diagonally towards the camera in a way, we would have that solid light, unless they're passing through some obstruction between the camera and the light. But as we zoom in here, notice we barely see it at all, and it hauls butt. But there is one thing that if we catch, it's right at the end of video 4. And that is we see one more light turn on. Almost exactly where the spotter was at. Play that one more time. We see one subject going. And just before this video ends, we're going to have a light. And that is no, because again, I told you guys, since this is, they recorded it from a phone onto a monitor, there's so many variables you could have. If I had certain lights in my room, and I'm recording the monitor, I could get light reflecting onto the screen, causing, things to appear that shouldn't be there. But that light is clearly, definitely there in the video. It's not some kind of light pollution or whatever you'd call it. Okay, so adding more and more to the totality here. We have the light going back, and we have a light that for some reason is now in that same spot that, in my opinion, is in a spot where you can see Kellen, you can see Stafford, obviously, and where the other subject is going. Unfortunately, we don't have any more video as the public, so we don't know what happens with those lights, or at least this one in particular, as well as it'd be interesting what happened with the car.
Law enforcement has never addressed the mysterious car that is sitting in a suspicious spot during the same time the mysterious lights are moving. This leads me to believe this is part of the answer to solving Rogers' case. Of course, Schillfisher claims this car was from somebody local that was picking up or dropping off some friends. He claims the parents of the car owner are chill and allow their teen out during late nights. Remember, this was early Monday morning. If this was truly the answer, why couldn't law enforcement put out a statement regarding the lights and car? So
we'll go more into this a little bit, but Schillfisher literally said that he figured out these cars, and that this particular car was a teenager who's, I guess his family is chill and allows them to be out late at night, and was either dropping off some friends or something like that. And it just makes zero sense. You know, again, it's Monday morning at 3:10 a.m. And according to locals, you know, there's not a lot of teenager. I mean, there is, but there's not as many. And again, if it was just something that simple, especially if it pertains to not only the car but the lights, why wouldn't law enforcement just come out and say, bam, you know, like, hey, this is the sorts of the lights, you know, and then whatever bullshit story he just concocted. But of course they have not touched on that. So again, another narrative by the Schillfisher to try to explain something.
Clearly put out a statement regarding the green hoodie person. Why not the mysterious lights?
Thank you so much, Cecilia.
Unless this is truly the puzzle they need to figure out.
Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. So more false narratives. And again, we're going to put all the totality together, but I just wanted to add a little bit more. Because, again, this isn't just something that happens once, twice, three. This is a pattern for them. You know, this is a pattern. Why are they doing this? This makes no sense. Especially when it doesn't add up at all. So, I'm not going to read the entire thing. Before I read this, I'm sure a lot of you know the Lord Lodge, Aiden from Lord Lodge. Excuse me. Amazing content creator. I've been a subscriber to his channel for probably at least a year. He is actually called out Schillfisher, and he is actually, because he does live shows on Monday, and so he has called out Schillfisher, and apparently he's going to have him on the 20th, I believe. So I'm really excited, and I'm also going to send Aiden some information to help, because, you know, they're going to be debating, whatever. So anyway, let me just read this for you guys, and you tell me how you interpret this. The 3M vehicles are accounted for and have nothing to do with the lights video, because that video, which means when you say that video pertains to what you just said prior, the lights video was recorded at 5:09 to 5:10. Let me read that one more time. Quotes, the lights video, because that video referring to the lights video, was recorded at 5:09 to 5:10. That couldn't be any clearer to me. Let me know. But that's pretty clear with what he's saying. The mysterious lights were taken around 5:09 to 5:10. Right? Then, of course, I called him out on it. Because I knew that was BS.
Original. So what you are seeing is the lights from the home, above the street on the corner house. You can even see how the lights line up as a fade in and out the overlay. This is a terrible and despicable act to put out a false narrative.
Now, of course, I did a bunch of debunk videos. I'm just playing a little clip from one of them because they claimed that these lights were landscape lights that just happened to be the lights, the floodlights.
By a team who literally had a PI, Shill Fisher, who even though has been debunked multiple times, continues to be caught in countless lies, all in the name of Sebastian Rogers.
And that's what pisses me off. It fires me up so bad. And what this guy has done in the last few weeks is just unbelievable. Out of any terrible thing that anybody has done in this case, he takes the cake by far. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get sidetracked, but he put a quote out there, literally, in my opinion, could put the danger to a mother's child because of the statements he made, about a week ago, which is just absolutely vile.
Shill Fisher literally claims in this post that the quote-unquote lights video was recorded at 5:09 to 5:10 a.m.
So here, one more time, another tweet. The trash truck was on Kellen at 5:01 a.m. on Stafford. Near Sebastian's house at 5:12. The lights video. Here we go again. The lights video everyone is discussing was recorded at 5:09 to 5:10. Again, the lights video, and even puts it in quotes, so we know what he's talking about. Everyone is discussing was recorded at 5:09 to 5:10.
He was even kind enough to release some footage of the garbage truck going down Kellen Avenue. Well, let's take a look at that video and point out some very serious issues with Shill Fisher's statement. We can clearly see that it is getting lighter out, and it is not as dark. Note that the time is about 5:09 and 55 seconds, which means it's almost 5:10 a.m., which means the trash truck should be turning onto Stafford Court. Yet there is two major problems. One, if this mysterious lights video is taken at 5:09 to 5:10 a.m., then we should be seeing the trash truck turning onto Stafford in this footage.
Right? His words, this video, two different tweets, and there's more. Like I said, not only did he double down, he tripled down on it. So, and I'm going to send this all to Aiden, to the Lore Lodge, because they're going to be doing a debate, and whatever ammo I can give him, which is fact-based evidence, and then the stuff that this Shill Fisher put out, just to help for different subjects they may talk about. I will be sending this to him.
Also note the difference between the lighting in this surveillance footage compared to the mysterious lights video.
So again, I know I played some of this, but obviously it's pretty clear the skybox, and the fact that this particular surveillance footage doesn't have a lot of light pollution, whereas you can see here, look at the video here, which is taking up the street a little bit, has lights pointing towards the camera, which can actually cause light pollution and can affect the contrast of the video. But here, when we have a surveillance camera that really only has a couple of lights that are pointing outwards, they're not pointing towards the camera, and so we would know, if this was at 5:09, a little bit where the sun's starting to come up, we'd be able to tell.
How come the lighting is so dark compared to the Kellen Avenue footage? Why would a PI allegedly hired by the Proudfoot put out such a blatant lie and then claim others are the ones who are producing the false narratives? Was this by design to keep you from questioning what really might be going on in the surveillance footage, such as possible abduction of Rogers caught on film? Now, I'm not finished exposing this shill. This person needs to be held accountable for his actions. In his Twitter post, he claims that the field of view from the camera angle cannot reach the common area between the 2 yards that also conveniently excludes the Proudfoot's backyard.
Again, he has spoken, obviously, he's allegedly hired by him. I mean, why else would he be spending this much time? I've heard he gets paid quite a bit, allegedly. But the fact that the stink feet know where this camera's been pointing, they've known since probably day 3, whatever, pretty early on. They know where this camera's pointed at. The reporter, Nick Barris, knows where this camera's pointed at. People have spoken with the homeowner. Obviously, the homeowners know where the camera was pointing. Yet, you get this Shield Fisher team that is likely working or hired by the Proudfoots, and here again, putting out a false narrative saying, don't look here, just look at where this field of view ends, exactly away from where all the dog scent diagonally and the diagonal lights come.
Between the wrong camera angle and this false field of view, I can't determine which one is more ludicrous, but I will now tear down this false narrative that Shill Fisher presented. In this example, we can see the homeowner of the surveillance footage, and where one of the white trucks are parked, which is clearly in the driveway. Now this is where that truck is parked in the surveillance video. In front of that truck is another truck parked just past the driveway on the grass, pointed out here with the arrow. Now during another clip that was released shows a vehicle that is clearly on the Stafford Court Road. It now turns on its headlights. When it does, it illuminates the back of the truck parked in the grass. We can also clearly see that this unknown vehicle is parallel and slightly behind the truck parked in the driveway, which means that the field of view is much wider than what Shill Fisher claims in his post. Again, after clearly being debunked, he still claims this is false. Also, the actual homeowner came out and even pointed to where the vehicle was believed to be parked on Stafford Court. During this, multiple people were there when this homeowner pointed this out.
Again, multiple witnesses were there when this happened, and this homeowner has spoken a little bit to other people, and when the light, the light that runs across, kind of the last video, according to the homeowner, he says it almost looks like, because remember, they can see more of the quality again, so he can see a little bit better when watching the original. He said it looked like you could actually see someone jumping the ditch, which I find very fascinating.
He clearly pointed just across from his mailbox, which clearly lines up with what is in the surveillance video. Now to point out this obvious lie that contradicts itself. Shill Fisher also points out that he knows the identity of both vehicles and the drivers, but the most blatant lie is that he claims that the two vehicles were captured on camera during the 3 a.m. hour near Sebastian neighborhood. But wait a minute. I thought that the footage was from 5 a.m., not 3 a.m.
Yeah, so there he tripped himself up. Why is he mentioning 3 a.m. when, I thought the lights video happened at 5 a.m. Because the lights video, when you put them all together, right, there is a suspicious vehicle in the mix there, right? They all happen within a few minutes, right? So I don't know where he gets. So then all of a sudden he talks about a 3 a.m. and that there's multiple vehicles, which we know that there was two, one at 3 a.m. and then one later on around 5 or something like that, which is like an Uber. And that has been, identified and explained. But this car at 3 a.m. that Fisher had originally said, oh, well, it's just, a teenager dropping off some friends or something like that. They're lenient. And the fact that where this kid's allegedly parking makes no sense at all. Okay, so let's just remind Fisher here. Lights video, because that video was recorded at 5:09, 5:10.
Clearly he knows we have been looking at a vehicle captured just moments after 2. Lights move between the 2 yards. But now in this post, he is claiming 2 cars at 3 a.m. Remember, it is believed one car was at 3 a.m. and another was 3 a.m. Could both these vehicles be involved in Sebastian's disappearance? If he knows the identity of these vehicles, then why hasn't TBI
that's shot at
right released a statement regarding this claim?
But this is not the trash trucks came through at 5 o'clock. So this video, the original lights video
the original lights video, continue, Fisher.
Nick Barris originally put out.
Nick Barris. So we all know which video it's talking about. There's only one.
That's shot at like 5:09, 5:10 in the morning.
That's shot at 5:09 to 5:10. Again, so you have 2 tweets claiming the video's taken at 5:09. He knows where it's at and when it's taken from. And then here he is on the channel saying the same exact thing.
Not at 3 a.m. Because the
not 3 a.m.
trash trucks come right after that. And keep in mind the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. So and keep in mind the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. And keep in mind the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. So
if you just heard what he had said, so right there he has been busted. And then he puts out this statement is just absolutely ludicrous. It's a little too late and $1 short. I think I got yours, but thank you so much for the gifted. God bless you. Connie, gifting 5 Mob Crew memberships. Thank you so much for the support. You guys are amazing. Mama a 5, I like that. I like how you spell that. Thank you so much for becoming a member. God bless you. And Gil Hurd, huge supporter of the channel. Thank you so much for another gifted. You guys are amazing. Oh, I think I got yours. Thank you, Boogie, as always. Oh, thank you, Connie. Member for 9 months. That's awesome. Melissa, thank you so much for 2 months. We have Gwen Mills with the $5 super chat. God bless you. Saucy, good to see you. Thank you so much for the $3. And Jez, thank you so much. She says, thank you, Chris, for great content. God bless you. Thank you. Great work, Chris. Thank you, Carol. We got a little bit more. Well, actually, we got about probably another hour, maybe a little less. Maybe not an hour, but. And then let's see, I got Carol. Then we got Sharon. Remember, for 4 months, you're the only creator I financially support because you rock and don't get sucked into the drama. Thank you for all you do, Chris. Thank you so much. Yeah, we don't do drama. Really, the only time the drama would be is me calling out Fisher, and I'm only doing that because he is putting out false information. He's working with the family. He's allegedly working with the Stink Feet. And here we are putting out narratives. A lot of these are false narratives. And to me, it's tried to distract the public. And, You know, I'm so glad that bigger content creators are seeing this. And like Lord Lodge, Aiden with Lord Lodge, I cannot wait for the debate. Be curious if he actually really shows up. Flyer Girl, huge supporter of the channel. Chris, I can't say enough. You are amazing. God bless you guys. Can clearly hear he says he has the original video showing the trash truck on Stafford Court from that homeowner's house. So if that's true, how come he can't put out a still image from that house with the timestamp? Instead, he posts still video shots from different homes throughout the neighborhood that are completely not related. Creators are putting out the false information. Please share this video and smash the like button so we can spread awareness about Sebastian. So, of course, I debunked it every which way I could. I mean, I could probably make another 2 videos. Please consider subscribing to this channel. So, just real quick, then we're going to move on to the next one. So here he is, now putting out a tweet after I put out a debunk video. And here's what he said. At no point did I claim the lights in the video were of a trash truck. In fact, I repeatedly stated that what the lights represent is open to interpretation, and I was reserving mine to not sway opinion. A trash truck has 8 to 10 lights on its back, yet these are not visible in the lights video. A trash truck has 8 to 10 lights on its back, yet these lights are not visible in the lights video. So here he is saying, no, I did not say that the lights in the video were from the trash truck. Well, let's...
Video that Nick Barris originally put out, that's shot at like 5:09, 5:10 in the morning.
So he says that lights video is shot at 5:09 to 5:10, right? Well, if that's true, what do you think is going to be driving by at that time? Would be a giant trash truck with lights.
Not at 3 a.m. Because the trash trucks come right after that. And keep in mind, the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. So, and keep in mind, the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. And keep in mind, the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. So,
if you just heard what he had, and this is the big question. He does not have this footage. Let me just remind you, he does not have this footage. So how in the hell does he know? Can he say, concretely that this longer video of the mysterious lights from this camera would show the garbage truck? Now, of course, eventually the garbage truck will have to pass. But what I'm saying is, with the time frame that he's claiming, it makes no sense.
So, and keep in mind, the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. And keep in mind, the original video is much longer and shows the trash trucks. So,
if you just heard what he had said. So again, just completely had to backtrack, and he looks like an idiot doing so. You can clearly hear he says he has the original. So now I'm moving on. Let's see, what time do we start? 5? Oh, God, time flies. I do love this. I had to post this. I guess Clue was going over his video that, his documentary video, and I didn't see the live, but apparently I'm sure she's probably talking crap on him. So then he gives a $10 super sticker and says, hey, Clue, maybe you should review the 3-hour documentary we made instead of grifting based on your tongue-in-cheek live stream. Here's $10. You obviously need it more than I do. And I just found that kind of funny. Again, I don't like to get into the drama, but I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, post the video. Yeah, he's got all this 100 hours of video. Okay, so one last big thing to put all the puzzles together that we have right now. Something I've been kind of talking about more recently is this, because nobody else, as far as I know, has talked about this. And this is a 3D scanner. I don't know if it's the Faro brand or Faro. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it is definitely a 3D scanner. Now I can tell you, this is something I've never heard of, especially just in a missing persons case, like just like a potential runaway. This equipment's used in like crime scene, obviously big. They want to memorialize the crime scene. They can use this to show in the court. And they do with vehicle accidents. They do a 3D scan. That way they can kind of put the pieces together. And I'm sure that helps for, if that kind of thing goes to court, they can kind of present their evidence. But again, I find it very fascinating that they would use this, and why. And again, let me just show you, just for anybody that's not familiar. I know if you've seen my past lives, then you kind of probably know, but just in case, if not, here is where that picture was taken. It's taken, so you have the Sebastian Rogers backyard. It's kind of more of like a rectangle, where this one across is kind of more of a square, but they have the fences, and then they have these fences that are kind of spaced apart, so you can kind of walk between, if you're just walking between the backyards, you would have, 3 to 5 foot clearance, something like that. That's just guesstimating. But they are situated right here. And I'll kind of show you different views just so you can get an idea here. So they are positioned, so you can see the windows from the house. They are positioned, if you move this tree right here, I would say they're kind of like right here. So remember, all of the diagonal stuff is going right in this, all the traffic with the dogs and the lights, they are coming this area here. Oh, thank you, Monday. God bless you guys all. You guys are so amazing. So yeah, again, you're just so you can see the windows, you can see where they're at. You can see that it's kind of hard to see, but this guy's definitely in the backyard of Sebastian. I think that's Craddock. He's got his hands over, but they got the scanner. It's on a tripod, and you can see that this thing's going to scan around. If you're not familiar, I'll just kind of show you what it does.
Attention to detail. They also at a scene, investigators position the scanner on a tripod and then program it to do a 360-degree line of sight scan. It can be repositioned.
So see how the camera and the laser are right here. And it's just taken, who knows how many pictures and data that's coming into this machine.
As necessary to capture other parts of the scene, along with.
And as you can see, it literally
precise
recreates
the scanner provides a
3D
blueprint
environment
of the space, a 360.
So as you can see, they're going into a classroom. This classroom is from the scanner. That is not just like kind of a bad quality picture of somebody walking through the classroom. This is them after they have done a scan of this room.
Brief fly-through model of the scene and panoramic photographs.
And I mean, look how, now this one they're still using it, but I'm sure, because remember, it's taking pictures, so not only could you just go through the 3D scan, but, you know, since it took pictures, you could probably go back and look at individual pictures like this one.
After leaving the scene, investigators can view the footage on a computer to re-examine details.
We'll use our scanner on any major scene, homicides, vehicle crash investigations, anything that we may go back and need to do a really detailed reconstruction of.
The equipment offers expanding capabilities.
And then he also mentions that, you know, this is something that we like to show, build that up for if this goes to court, which I find very interesting. So now let's put everything that I've showed you throughout the live, and let's put all of it together here. So obviously the machine, I showed you guys kind of where it was at. Then I'll kind of show you kind of a rough estimate of where the scan would take place, which would be something along that line because it's a 3D. So interestingly enough, what do we see? We see the connection with the 3D scan, the heavily trafficked area with the dogs, so we just kind of add them in here. We've got the dogs diagonally. We have the lights, in my opinion, coming diagonally. We have the 3D scan that happens to just take place in that same area as well. And then on top of that, just to kind of add to it, Sebastian, you know, this poor kid, if he ran away, the only thing he takes, he doesn't take his cell phone, he doesn't take his shoes. He doesn't take his cell phone, he doesn't take his shoes, he doesn't take a coat. But yet, he's going to take this flashlight, which to me, I think, again, I think it's an inside job. And I think the flashlight was another false narrative to cover up with the lights video. I think they were anticipating maybe possibly being seen on a camera. I think that's why they didn't move together at the same time.
Outreach from the community and various.
Hopefully, in my opinion, I don't think they were anticipating the angle of the camera that we captured all the mysterious lights. And I think they were maybe hoping that one of the lights was captured and then they could just kind of run with it, say, look, this mysterious light shows, a light kind of wandering away from our home. And then we have the dogs. And then, bam, you have your narrative. And that, to me, that's, that would kind of make sense, if you weren't looking too hard into the case. Then Chris said something here, which I found very fascinating.
Counties has been extremely welcoming, loved. I mean, it's we've been told this is probably one of the largest searches that they've conducted with so much input that it's a case to be studied for sure.
You have a lot of people.
So what's a weird statement. Now, I will say some people had actually misquoted him and said that this case would be studied for years. He doesn't say that. He said it'd be studied for sure, but still, let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe looking too much into it, but, again, providing the context, he is talking about, you know, how many people had searched compared to normal searches, you know, this was a lot. This was much more than you usually hear about.
Conducted with so much input that it's a case to be studied for sure.
And again, it just kind of gives me the vibes of John Ramsey in the John Benet Ramsey case, where he said something like, I don't care if it takes the rest of my life to solve this murder or something like that, to find my daughter's killer. Yeah. So he said, I don't care if it takes the rest of my life to find my daughter's killer, which, you know, he's saying that in the first, month or something like that. And what a weird statement to make regarding the John Ramsey thing. Like, it's like he knew that this case was going to go on, you know, possibly unsolved. And so anyway, it just kind of reminds me of that. Again, if he did say years, obviously that would be a major red flag, but still, that's still something weird to say. Along with many other things he said.
You have a lot of people.
Okay, we're going to try to go through this. Just got a little bit left here. I try to keep this at hour and a half, but I think we're going a little bit longer. DC Prime, law enforcement said that the video is of no evidentiary value. Do you think it's because convince a DA? Do you think it's because it's too dark to convince a DA or jury? I don't think it's too dark. Now remember, he says that it could down the road have evidentiary value. So keep in mind, remember, he kind of says it both ways. It's not as much as the footage. I believe they know the vehicle. They know, like, the make and model. But again, there's something on the vehicle that was possibly missing. And they just cannot identify that car. Like, they may have the make and model possibly, but they can't. Again, there's something missing on that car. Rose Bunny 14, thank you so much for the $4.99. God bless you. All right. Which door was used? We're going to kind of go through this quickly, and I don't think I'm going to have enough time to get to the audio. I will play one thing. I will touch the audio just for a second, give my opinion on it.
Extra secure in that regard. Does mom park in garage regularly? I asked. Yes. Always. Mom always parks in the garage. Yeah. Chris has a big truck. It doesn't fit in the garage. His RV.
Oh, does he? If anybody knows,
bruising anything,
I could send me the link to that quote. I'd love to hear it, because if he did say that, then that's definitely a major red flag. I still think it's odd, you know, like, again, to me, it just gives me the John Ramsey vibes.
They said no, nothing that they could see. But, you know, our neighbors don't know everything about us. Our friends don't know everything about us. I was on the entire night. I feel like, could that be out? So it looks, so by the outside, right, from the outsider looking in, everything looks unassuming and just normal.
Now, this is Sweetie Pie Low. She was speaking to the neighbor that lived across the street from the Stink Feet's home. And she has a ring cam that's facing towards the Sebastian Rogers home.
This completely, in my opinion, corresponds with these unusual lights. But what does it actually mean, right? Does it mean that the parents in some way had something to do with it? Great question. Don't know. But what I can tell you is, I guess, on any of those streets around there in the middle of the night because of there. I guess there's no HOA. So as of now, Katie is the mother of Sebastian. That every single thing she has said at this point checks out of her home, and she was frantic, I guess, looking high and low for her.
Sorry, I'm trying to find this one part here.
Stump. Holly's question. Hey, Holly, disappeared. Saying, I can't find some.
Okay.
Here we comes out. It could have even been 6:30. It was sometime in that window. Mom comes out. She sees neighbors. There's multiple neighbors outside at that point, and she starts saying, I can't find Sebastian anywhere. I can't find him anywhere. Now, I don't think she's much said that part of the story, that she actually came outside of her home and she was frantic, I guess, looking high and low for her.
That's what I thought, Brandy. I thought he'd said it a different way. I'll have to look. If anybody knows, can email me. That would be interesting, because I thought he did. But even just saying study is so weird.
Went.
I mean, you only study cases, obviously, like John Bonet and stuff like that. Just a weird phrase.
Over, I think, what was the school, potentially. From, I think it was Katie. And I can't find 1 p.m. Disappear. Just next month.
Oh, here we go.
This is so obvious. We know who did this. A kid doesn't just disappear. But then in the next moment, it's like, well, what happened? Like, this is bizarre. And to answer Holly's question, hey, Holly, did he have his glasses? Yes, supposedly his glasses and his flashlight are among the things that are missing. Supposedly. Okay, so I want to tell you this next thing that happened.
And that is interesting. Not to say, like, maybe he doesn't have, like, because, Stink Feet is very strict, and so, he has to have a clean room. I do find it odd that they knew right away, because, I mean, this was, like, out, like, real quickly about the whole flashlight. So I do find it odd that they knew that this flashlight was missing. I mean, look, obviously it was just one, so look how small these are. Like, how did they know right away that out of all the things he had was this keychain flashlight?
Just a second. All right. I don't know which door that is, but I'm not going to say.
So just a couple more things to go over here. And then I'll touch on the audio for a second.
So they have a PIN code lock on the front door. And
PIN code lock on the front door. Along with that, guess where Sebastian's shoes are kept? They're kept near the front door. So this also reinforces my theory that there's just no way he went out the front door, which only leaves technically the north side, which would be 2 garage doors, which obviously he's not going out 2 garage doors, making all that noise. And then you have a door, which, from what I understand, also has the keypad code lock on it. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's the one they're talking about.
Garage door. There is one door that doesn't have either a PIN code lock or anything, for obvious reasons. I'm not. I do know which door that is, but I'm not going to say here because it is what it is. It's very confusing. Sebastian's bedroom is not on the back of the house. It's actually on the front of the home. So if he were to dip out, he could walk right through that front door.
So remember, his bedroom's near the front door. If he was going to go out that front door, why wouldn't he grab his shoes? They're right there. They're right there. Which tells me he didn't go out the front. I can't see him going out the garage because you'd have to go past his mother's bedroom because I think it's on that side, around that same side. I believe. I could be wrong. But then again, if he went out this,
but there would have been a record of it. And who knows, maybe that record, exists and law enforcement has it, I'm sure, right?
So I find that fascinating. Unless this has a keypad lock, but it sounds like it's the garage door that has it, which then leaves this deadbolt and a possible handle that has the lock on it, which, again, he didn't have keys, so how would he lock it coming out? One other thing is, because, these garbage people that have been working with the stink feet. So here we have all the totality that I've got. I'm going to add more. We have the flashlight, which to me is a narrative, a false narrative. Again, going to the thoughts of all the things he has. He takes a flashlight, but he doesn't take his shoes. He doesn't take his cell phone. Again, you got the lights. You got the 3D scan. You got the dogs. Everything's all up here. And there's, in my opinion, the most likely possibility is he went out the back. Now, is that on his own free will, or was he carried, knocked out, or something worse, which I hope not. But everything all points to here. But yet, it's so interesting that you see these people all try to say, no, look over here, it's over here, but none of this has been explained. None of these major things. The lights video, no one's even talked about the 3D scan. Two last things. I'm not going to too much into it, but of course, because of that Shield Fisher and just what a piece of garbage he is, he's trying to claim that, and not even him, but there's others. Let me remind you, Sebastian only has one window from what I can see, because there's no window here. He couldn't have a window where the camera is facing, because that would be the doorway. To the left, there cannot be a window because that's going to be, I don't know, it's probably a bathroom on the other side. So the only two places he could have a window would be here and obviously here. This is the front room. This is the front of the house, right? So, there's some people claiming, they threw rocks at his window to lure him out. But again, he didn't go out the front door. There's no way we would have seen him. And if somebody came and was throwing rocks or whatever, some stupid theory that is just garbage, that they try to lure him out by throwing rocks at his window. I don't know how we know this neighbor. Again, it's so funny because they give crap to another neighbor and claim her nosy, but yet there was other neighbors, including this one, who was speaking with content creators. But there's no way in hell that somebody would come and not be seen throwing rocks and lure him out and play flashlight tag. Just the most ridiculous stuff I've ever heard. But a 4-year-old could probably come up with some better theories than what these people are producing. It is pathetic. Some of you may know what I'm talking about, but they were trying to explain about this flashlight thing and like flashlight tag, and that's how they lured him out. And it sounds so stupid. Anyway, maybe I'm going to save this for the next one. So, is the audio real? I'll just leave a cliffhanger. There's alleged audio that was recorded from one of the cameras.
The volume from any other clip. I've reduced the audio down, reduced 50%, reduce the back into this.
Sorry. So that's it. I know. I'm sure probably especially if you're just on your cell phone, probably couldn't hear that very well. And if I get some time, maybe I'll play with it. But after listening to how she got the source, where she got it from, and listening to it, because again, I'm not going to lie to my viewers, of course, clickbait and, exaggerating about things that may not be true. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I'm going to give it to you real, and in my opinions. And of course, I could always be wrong, but just from what I've listened to and what she says here, I guess since we're already into it, might as well finish it. Let me just show you what she says here.
Spirit Mystic, thank you for being here, honey. So yeah, then we're going to go through. I want you all to put your heads. I want this on me because has posted yet. And I've been playing around with it for a couple. I've been playing around with overtaxed, overwhelmed. I just was like, I felt overwhelmed. The on, and I want you to tell me because somebody sent me the audio that goes with the flashlight video.
So right there, major red flags, because that audio, even though those cameras from the from the, the Mysterious Lights video, even though those cameras have audio, I don't know if the audio is working or not, but I don't think it would have captured. I'm sure if there was things going on near that car, maybe, and if they were yelling and screaming. But from what I understand, anything that had been leaked, the only people that actually have the original video and possible audio would be law enforcement. Because the owners they didn't know how to pull it off the server. So all they could do was record it, right? And then none of those had audio. So right there, that kind of raises red flags. And again, this is nothing against this person here. I'm just trying to keep it real with you guys, because, and I will try to kind of look at it a little bit more, but I can tell you that audio did not come from there. Maybe there's a small possibility it could have came from another camera, because there are some cameras right by the house across the street. But there's some issues I have, and I'd have to, we've been kind of going pretty long, so I don't want to go any longer. But I just want to say, just from my initial experience listening and hearing about it, doesn't sound legit to me, and I'll probably explain more in the next live. Again, I don't want to crush anybody's hopes on that, or but again, this is a channel where I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'll probably get things wrong. I am human, but I'm not going to put out false narratives to just, up my game, whatever. So, and again, this is nothing against this person. Maybe she thought it was real, but again, I could put up a bunch of scenarios like, why would she only has 4,000 subscribers. Why would this person send it to her? I've never even heard of this person. And again, no offense to her, but if you're trying to get that out, why not send it to like a bigger YouTuber? It just doesn't add up, right? And again, I don't want to. I've lost subscribers because, a lot of people wanted me to overlay the Xfinity, and is it the Xfinity? No, that's the Infinity. I'm sorry, I've got Xfinity internet, but the Infinity or whatever. But from what I've told, it's likely a sedan. So, but I had people unsubscribe because, I was telling them I don't think it's I don't think they would use a car from the family, the immediate family, if it was an inside job. It just wouldn't make sense. You would get something, that more likely to be not traced, and probably likely an older model that didn't have any kind of tracking in it. So, but I will take another look at it. I'm not 100% gonna debunk that, but just from what I heard, I'm not thrilled about it because, again, I'll talk about it in the next live. But again, I just want to shoot it straight with you guys, so that way we focus on the evidence that we know is real, true, see, feel, touch, and work our theories off that. Hey, CNY family. I believe Sebastian was given to a couple driving an older model RV, white with faded blue stripes. Man, it would be so amazing to just finally get a break in the case, and of course have Sebastian found alive. I mean, that'd be amazing. Thank you, CNY. And Jays, thank you, Chris. I appreciate your honesty. Of course, again, like I said, I love playing with audio clips. And if anybody has like the original and want to send it to me, I'd be happy to break it down and give my thoughts on it. Again, I'm just going to be straightforward with you guys. Noel says, Carl Willis has a video on this also. Oh, okay. I'll write that down for next time. Have they really checked out all the neighbors? You never knew who you're really living next to. I mean, that's a good question, Diana. I mean, there's always, possibilities. But of course, in my opinion, I think with the totality of everything that we have, it looks like an inside job. Now, who are the players? That's still to be determined. And where is Sebastian? So Stinky said case would be studied for a long time. Yeah, again, just such a weird statement, Again, it just reminds me of the John Ramsey saying that, well, I don't care if it takes the rest of my life to find my daughter's killer. Like, such an odd statement, Why? How do you know it's going to take the rest of your life? And, well, coincidentally, here we are, fortunately, John Ramsey's no spring chicken. And, from what I understand, once he moves on, it's going to be his son that's going to kind of continue the narrative. And anyway, I want to get sidetracked with another case, but that case stinks to high hell, in my opinion. All right, guys, I am going to head out. Thank you so much for you guys' amazing support. Rose Bunny, thank you so much for the $4.99. I think I might have missed it. If anybody by chance sent a PayPal or Venmo, let me check my phone just in case. Oh, Fly Girl, thank you so much. I have not got it yet, but thank you for the PayPal. God bless you. Oh, now it comes up. It's funny. You guys are amazing. Patreon, I am going to put out some videos for the drones that are happening in New Jersey and the orbs and stuff. So that's coming out. Hopefully it'll be out tomorrow, along with the members. So another great way to support the channel, Patreon and memberships. But with that, we will see you guys tomorrow. Friday. So we'll be back on regular time. And as always, God bless you guys. Be safe out there. And we will see you guys tomorrow.